Let's start with a simple question. What's your name, Anthony?
My name is Anthony. All right, so my name is Anthony,
Yeah.
Anthony Syams. I'm the CEO and founder of CotiT, which is a company that specializes in supply chain visibility. A little bit background of myself. I'm a father, 4 kids, married, try to do sports, try to be active in my life. I like solving problems. That's why I'm in one of the most difficult industries you can ever imagine, which is supply chain. So yeah, that's what I love. Solve things. Sometimes I feel that I just looking for problems, and you know, in a good way. I don't know. Sometimes maybe in a bad way, but we have to find ways to figure out how we can solve them. So
Okay,
that's
so
a
you
little bit of me.
solve problems. You're not creating problems, right?
Well, sometimes you need to create a problem to solve a problem,
Test it, just to test it.
just to test it. And sometimes you learn by creating the problems. I think many times you learn things when you create the problem, but you don't experience them immediately as a problem. You only realize afterwards that you created the problem.
Yeah, and like for proofing, your software, probably like creating problems, checking if there's a problem, just testing your software. This is basically also what you have to do, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly. The entire journey of building software is basically finding issues, which things that work, things that don't work. You have to deal with a lot of things, obviously. User experience, you have to deal with technical issues. You will always find bugs. That's normal way of how things goes. And that's the way how you solve things. I call them now problems, but actually it's just solving, bug solving, making features more efficient, and that's from building the software. But eventually, when you use it in an operation, it's also how can we make operation more efficient, visible, also very important, because if you don't have it visible, how do you know that it's inefficient, or how do you know you can improve it? So yeah, make data visible basically.
Tell me, what your software does.
So we built a modular supply chain visibility platform, which is basically a modular platform that exists out of multiple modules that specializes in different aspect of the business. Think about warehouse management, ERP, order management, product management. So basically, we bring everything which moves as a separate part in an operation as a module, and we bring it together so we have total visibility around the operation. Because imagine you have someone in the warehouse picking orders, is directly relatable to the one that is selling the products that are creating those orders. So you want to know, how does that relate with each other? Am I on time with deliveries? If not, why is it that we're not on time? Is it maybe something that was inefficient in the warehouse, or was it the order picker that responds too late, or is the way that they walk around the warehouse not efficient? So there are so many things to discover. We call them like the hidden risks of the operation, because mostly if you look at a operation, you think about your inventory levels, your revenue, the most obvious things which you can measure. But there are many other parts in the business which you can't measure. For example, you're walking around the warehouse, but you have to pick one order in one side of the warehouse, and then the other order way on the other side of the warehouse, which is very inefficient in your walking. So, it becomes, when you do this like compounding, yeah, it becomes very inefficient. So people get annoyed or frustrated, or you're not as fast as you could be. Those things we want to uncover with our software.
All right. This is basically if I understand correctly, this is like for example, I have an online store, and I have my products there, and me as a seller, seeing some kind of order coming, I can see when this order will be basically picked up by order picker in the warehouse, right?
Yes, indeed. You can indeed see and uncover inefficiencies in the picking process, but you could also uncover inefficiencies in, for example, your procurement. For example, you have an order coming in of product, but that relates to another product that is a combined product, for example, but that other product is not in storage, which means your customer have to wait for the complete order,
Yeah.
and that means your stocks are not leveled in the correct way. So in that case, you also become inefficient because you have to do things twice, and you want to do things in one time because that's way more efficient. Well, and there are many examples. There are thousands of examples. That's why the supply chain is so complex, because there are all separate moving parts needing to work together. And that's why we, as a software vendor, believe that it's not different divisions you're working in. It's just one company that you're working in, and you have to expose all those different parts in one environment. Although you could have multiple systems working together, because in many cases companies already have a system. In that case, we say, okay, you have a system, but does it communicate with another system? Many of the times it's not the case. So you have an inefficiency from data transferring from one system to the other. So that becomes inefficient. What people do in practical in the practice is that they build their own little system. For example, they use Excel to just fill in the gap. Well, that's also inefficient over time. At that point it solves an issue, but on the longer term it doesn't solve the core issue, basically.
All right. So your software, but we kind of talked about the okay, seller and the picker, but
Yes.
between those two kind of edge cases, right? There's a lot of going on, right? Because okay, if someone orders, me as a store owner, I see the orders coming, and the order goes to to through some kind of I don't know, data transfer
Yes.
to the picker. But like, okay, picker is picking it, then it goes to some kind of place probably. Then it's picked up by another person that loads this on the truck. Yeah,
Yes.
the truck goes one way to distribution center or whatever.
Yes.
Then it's repacked. I don't know, and then basically goes to the delivery guy, right? Or there's something in between.
Yes.
So there's many process, many steps in the process, right?
Yes.
And you control everything.
So we make the entire process visible. That's where it starts with. Because if you have visibility of the process and all those moving parts visual available, then you can see the inefficiencies. If you don't have those, if you don't have that visibility, level of visibility, it becomes very difficult to see where you can improve. So basically, we say, okay, you have all these moving parts, you have your systems in place, you have your process in place, but let's put it all together in one environment, the software environment, and see where we can improve. Because we live in a time and age that, we don't want to wait 2 days, 3 days for our packages anymore. We want to have it like the next day, or maybe we're even working towards same day. You order now, I get it in a couple of hours. You have some companies that are able to do that. So we get very impatient when we need to wait for 5 days, 10 days, even 30 days. People rather buy a product through a local supplier because it's delivered faster than going through Temu and waiting for 30 days to have the package, although it's even sometimes 10 times cheaper. So you see, the value in many times is in the speed. But how can you uncover speed if you don't know where your inefficiencies lay? So that's what we try to uncover, basically showing, okay, the goods are coming in. How fast are they being stored at the right places? Well, the order is coming in. How fast can you process that order? Because there's a cost involved in the order from the order to the customer. That cost is called the order processing cost. But most of the time, people don't have any clue what that cost is because people are involved. In many cases, machines are involved. There's so many things involved. Time is money. So, but we cannot calculate these things. So we could never know if you're making strong margins or not. And in many cases, like within like product goods, the margins can be very thin. And we also have logistics costs, and all of these things matter. And if you can limit these, limit the inefficiencies, then yeah, you can also grow your margins basically.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense, especially if like the volume of transferred goods is increasing only, and the speed is increasing. And as you mentioned, when you wait a long time, you don't want to wait.
No.
If I see something online and I want to have it it's like, okay, it's like 3-5 euros difference, and I'm gonna get it tomorrow a little bit more expensive and or cheaper 2 days later. It's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go for the I just want it now.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, that kind of like shortening the time in between tasks. That's very important. And so your software works also with totally different softwares, right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
combine these softwares. How does it work?
So what we see in many operations is most of the time they started a journey and digitally transformed their operation. So they might have an ERP, they might have a warehouse management system, but they don't have the full visibility of what's going on. In that case, we say, okay, let's integrate with what you already have, because it becomes a big risk when you have to migrate what you already have into a new system, because you invested a lot of money into it, you invested a lot of time into it, and many people have this like sour feeling thinking about migrating system because they already know from experience it comes with a lot of headache. There's always some uh, 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 time span where you have to go through these inefficiencies and headache and like things that doesn't work, and they're just like, well, wait, everything works now, don't touch it. you know so what we say is, okay, whatever you have, keep it, we just integrate with what you have, and then we enrich what you currently not having and where you don't have visibility on. And also, some of the information which you have already in the system, they're not being fully utilized. So you don't have the data of understanding how can you become more efficient. You only have the information of, for example, stock or uh, the value of that stock, or the assets that are moving around. Well, in many cases, that's not enough to understand how can I become more efficient. So that's where we come in, integrate with it, make it like one system. And in many cases, we can even put that layer on top so it feels for the user that they're working in one system, although it's multiple systems connected to each other.
Mm, that's very smart. So yeah, so you take all the logistics under one umbrella,
Yes.
and you basically like a also interface for all these systems connected underneath.
Yes. And the thing also is, many of the companies that have a system bought these systems like many years ago. So a lot of these systems that these companies are using are very outdated. But they're now in a time and age where they want to use AI, for example, automate certain workflows, but they can't because they have a very old, outdated system. In many cases, we have seen even companies that work like, there's that DOS type of environment where you need to make commands and then you can see the stock and whatever. Well, there are companies running like 100 millions of revenue or sometimes even billions running fully on those systems. But it works. They don't want to touch it. They're like, no, it works. I'm afraid to touch it because if I touch it, I will lose a lot of money as well. So what we say is, okay, so actually you want to migrate away from it, but let's do it like in little steps. Keep what you have. We integrate with the information coming from these systems, and then we slowly migrate it away so that you can have this more future-proof environment where you can start utilizing AI features and some intelligence within the operation.
Hmm. So you basically like have you are eating cookie and you're having cookie at the same time. So basically, like the store owner looking at and he's connected to let's say 2-3 different softwares, and your software is on top of it, right? And you can migrate from one software to your software. So basically, let's say from 3 different tools through 3 different programs, you can just like slowly migrate from one program to your software, but everything works. But underneath, in the
Yes.
background, it's migrating, and you're checking, and if it works correctly. If not, there's some fixes probably or something that to make it work. And when it's 100% done and it works, then you just disconnect, pull the plug of this
Yes.
program that the user don't need, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I like the
That's
analogy of the
brilliant.
cookies because basically you have your old cookies and we say, listen, let's get some cream and some berries and put it on a cookie so it tastes a little better. But when the cookies are finished, let's bring in the new cookies.
Yeah, the cookies are baking in the background.
Yes, exactly. The cookies are baking in the background, but we're not gonna throw away your current cookies. We're gonna eat it, but enjoy the
Yeah,
old cookies while eating those.
yeah. I think very nice, very nice idea. Yeah, if you look at it, in terms of cookies versus logistics,
Yes, exactly.
cookie logistics. This is your that. So it's not coated, it's cookie.
Cookie.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about the brand name and why and what it is, and yeah.
Well, actually, it's a funny story. Um, so when we came up with the name CotiT, we were sitting around on a table figuring out what will the company be named. And we didn't have a clue. So we were just sitting. The music was running on the background, and at some point there was this like a hip hop number called "Cut It, Cut It," and we were listening, and we're like, "Oh, this is catchy, catchy word." And we're like, "Let's call it Cut It," and then we put some meaning behind it.
Yeah,
Because if you think about cut, it's just like cut the cost. We're in IT, so cut IT.
yeah,
It's like that.
yeah. It's like software, software, a way of saying coded.
Yeah, code it,
Yeah,
cut efficiencies. It's like you can put some meaning into it, but actually, there's not some fancy story which you hear often. That some deep meaning. It was just hearing a song on the radio, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a great name. And then we put the meaning later.
sometimes it works like this.
Exactly.
Building the brand isn't like just like you take the book, you read the book, and you just go step by step, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was also the journey of our company. We're like, um, basically we grew into this. Um, Many years ago, we did something totally different. At least we were active in the supply chain, but more as an intermediate. So we were like helping companies to produce their products, mostly fashion products. We helped them with the logistics, the distribution, the warehousing, we even create the web shop and all of those stuff. We were really like intermediate, helping them to get their business started, or in many cases scaled, or just get the production going. So we were in a totally different space, but it also made us realize like, hey, there's so many inefficiencies in the supply chain, and the communication is really bad. For example, you can have a crazy big fashion brand. You would speak with the manufacturer through like WeChat if the manufacturer was in China, or through WhatsApp. We had like manufacturers in Turkey that did like millions of production, and then you just had the communication through WhatsApp. You sent the tech pack through the email, and they have all this scattered information. And we were like, how can they even run a business like that? So we saw immediately, oh, there's so many inefficiencies. Well, in this story, we just grew into what we are doing right now. It's just like being open to whatever comes to you. And as I was saying, just solving the problems as they are coming at you. And I think that is the story of how we've built the company.
Yeah, you just saw the problems, and you find out how to fix them, and you I created software from
Exactly,
it.
exactly. And we had some experience, like especially my co-founder Fabian, he was like coding since he was 12 years old. He's really that typical, like, super geek, like the whiz kid, know how everything that's technical, he knows how to work with it. Like, it's a good feeling around it. So, it made sense for us to go in that direction. We were already had that idea to build a software, but, you know, we just didn't know where to start. We did had some ideas, we built it and then stopped it, and then, on and off, on and off. But then we grew into it. So, and I think that's also better because then you're solving something that is a real world issue because you have so many software and so many solutions out there. They're like very smart and everything, but it's like, what's the value in that? It's just some cool feature that can do something, but you don't need it. There's too many companies that do that. They're just trying to over engineer simple things.
Yeah, exactly as you're saying. The thing is when you see the need of something and or you see the problem and you kind of have like a solution for this problem, or you're gonna feel this need, the void of the need there's in the market. That's where it really starts to go, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. And I think, well, I have to be honest because when we just started, we thought, okay, this space has huge issues going on. We're going to solve it. Like, that very naive mindset, like, yeah, we're going to handle it. But being in it now for 9 years, almost 10, there's so many complexity. And I understand now why companies haven't solved this issue way earlier. um, but yeah, also with 9 year experience, you figure out how you could make it more efficient. So I'm happy and also feel blessed that we can go through this journey. It's a tough journey in so many cases because complexity. It's fun, but in some cases it's also very inefficient in making a quick process, quick progress. So yeah, it is a really like organic way of growing into and scaling the company.
Yeah, one thing that's always like kind of um, you know creates like some kind of headache for me is just you have this idea, the solution for this problem, and you want to implement it in your software or create something new. It takes a long, long time to make it, and people that are not in the software industry, because I also run a software company, and yeah, this is like the pain that I want something to have it tomorrow,
Yes.
as this package from Amazon or whatever, but it doesn't work like that. The process, the length of the process of creating, testing, and improving,
Yes.
it's a long, long journey, and
Yes.
and and for now, of course, probably a big help from AI in coding, but still, you cannot trust it. It's
Yes.
still it cannot be done overnight, and when it is, it's probably bad. So how do you see it, progressing forward? Like,
So one thing I learned is that, you know, building the tools is one thing, but actually testing it, um, making sure that all the inefficiencies are away, making sure that the UX aligns with the features, that takes way more time than actually building it. And now we're in this era where we can build software with AI, so we can make MVPs like in one day or even like in a couple of hours. But the real work starts when you have people using it, but because then you have to think about like compliances, security. You have to think about usability. You have to think about a lot of things. And while doing those things, you need to test it. So testing takes at least twice as much time as building it. And I say at least. So if you build it like in a week, then you need an additional 2 weeks at least to test it properly. And I think there is where people, are overestimating AI and underestimating like what the human capacity or the human like intellect comes in, because the machine can see a lot of things, the AI can can uncover a lot of things, but a lot of the work is still like manual work because AI is not the user, you know, and it has all the information how the user would like to see it, but then still, it's not using it. So, but I think it's an interesting time, especially with agents coming in,
Yeah.
because agents are uh, able to use software. So I'm also thinking about how then software will need to look like if agents will be using the software more than us human. But I think for now it's not something to worry about because
Hmm.
there are still a lot of people that are actual the user. But I think it will shift. It will shift where the agents will be the user, and then I don't think agents care about how it looks like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting time, and we need to see how that will, uncover itself.
Yeah, for me, it's very interesting when you have this agents or something that actually can test your software. You can kind of maybe not replace tester, but have another tester for your software, being an AI bot
Yes,
basically.
yes,
But the thing is that from one side, on the one hand, you don't have to kind of write a script like this is the scenario of what's happening, what normal user would do. It just goes. It just goes, right? But there are probably scenarios that it doesn't think it through, and it just goes blindly through.
yes,
And for your own testers, yeah, you they sometimes come up with their own path of testing. Yeah, this and this and this and this needs to be tested. Okay, let's break this point and test around it. And I'm very curious how it is with the bots, with the agents, how they gonna do it, because now it's just like walking into the into the blind.
yeah. Some like hybrid model
Yeah.
where the AI is able to test, and I think you can be very happy if it can test 80%. Well, I think there will be a time where it can be even like 99% tested, but then you have still that 1%, right? That needs to be tested by a human. And I have this thinking where, let's imagine that you clean up your room. You have a lot of mess in your room, you clean up the room, and every time when you're like, oh, almost there, that last piece of almost there always take way more time than you actually anticipated on. That will be the same in this case, in like testing or whatever, building. It's always that last final piece that takes way more time because it's just that final piece, it's the
Hmm.
cherry on the pie, and people always underestimate that last piece, which makes it like the final touch.
Human touch.
Human touch. Exactly.
Human touch is important. Remember this.
Yes. Exactly. Well, we need to see, how it all evolves because I think nowadays AI is it becomes also very creative in a way. When you prompt something for a visual or something, it comes up with pretty good stuff. But it's not. I don't think it can solve everything. We still need that human touch, as you were saying.
Yeah, I just recently I've heard someone's take on it about AI, and like basically we are talking about LLMs, large language models, and what they do is they kind of pack all the knowledge they can get from human knowledge, human ideas, everything into one, and then based on this, yeah, try to create, but they are kind of recreating from the creations they were,
Yeah.
uh, you know, they learned from.
Yes. So they cannot come up with totally original new stuff, basically.
Uh, Probably depends on the model, but yeah, they are fed with everything what's already existing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They cannot create what is not created.
they can cross things, right? Like
Yes.
we also do things like crossing. Okay, let's take a piece of this and connect with piece of this, and let's see how it works.
Yes.
And then they can do it, 100 times per second or 1,000 times per second, way faster than we do. But is there real creativity? That's the question.
Yeah, that's the question. That's the question. And will we be able to still bring in creativity? Because if we as a creator that creates with AI becomes lazy to become more original in our creation, then it becomes very hard to come up with new things. It's already very hard to come up with new things, you know. Whereas in the industrial area, when not a lot of products were out there, came up with a lot of new things like a paper clip, a pen, you know, a pencil. But a lot of the things are already out there. But it's very difficult to imagine things that you never have seen. So I wonder how that will evolve. But that is interesting to see. There's definitely more time for us to think about things if AI will do our jobs.
Yeah, what we're gonna do then?
Well, we're gonna have deep thoughts of what is not there yet.
How is the water?
Can I do it like this?
Is it coffee or water?
Water.
Water. Okay.
Good water.
You're you're over caffeinated.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll be speaking fast.
After this, we're gonna get a coffee.
All right.
Yeah. So, speaking of AI, how do you implement AI in your software? What it does?
So, what I envision is that we, as a user of a system, can be more assisted by the AI. For example, when I walk in the warehouse and I want to know if we have enough stock levels on a certain product, for example, now with voice AI or with visual recognition, can immediately see if the stock levels are at the right amount. And I can even ask, for example, when does the next batch of products comes in, and I can see if it's ordered or not. So where we're trying to head towards is that, you know, AI is embedded into information about a product. For example, you have, I don't know, a shoe that exists out of certain materials, but for some reason, one specific material is not available anymore. That means you need to replace that material with another material. But that means the specification of that shoe will slightly differ. If the AI understands the changes, then it can also automatically update the information. But let's say that new material is a little bit more expensive, or maybe even it's even more efficient, cost efficient. In that case, it can, you know, advise you when the timing and the market is right to go back to that material. So the AI can remember, has a certain memory of the product, but also a certain memory around deliveries from your suppliers. So when you're purchasing the products or the materials for those products, it can understand the performance of the delivery, the performance of the supplier. For example, when a supplier has been 3 times too late on delivery, then, you know, it remembers and can advise me like, hey, maybe you should look at another supplier, which is most of the time always on time. It's a little bit more expensive, but at least you get the goods on time. Well, in that case, you know, you have some intelligence that can advise you on making the right choices for that specific moment. So that's where we implement AI into our, like, as a memory from purchasing, order history, product history, etc. But also we have, for example, an assistant. I don't know, for example, how I need to book a certain order for training purposes, for example. I have a new employee, needs to check these orders, doesn't really know how the system works. It can ask, I have to do these steps. Okay, then you have to do this and that. Or maybe to automate certain workflows. I want to build in a workflow where I can automate this process. For example, order comes in, I want to have an email automatically go to the warehouse manager that needs to prepare the order picker to pick those orders. Or even a machine can be instructed, right? So you have a workflow and you want to automate that workflow, but you don't have the imagination how to build up the workflow. You can say to the AI, I want to achieve this. I want to make sure that the order, after the order is picked, an automated email will go out to the customer so they are updated on when the goods are coming in. You know, and these are workflows that you can build with the AI. It can help you to create these workflows and automate certain processes. So that's where we come in with AI. Well, my vision is to even make it more easier, where just based on like voice commands and just like typing to a chat bot saying, "Hey, I want to achieve this. What do I have to do? I want to book this order. Can you book it for me? It's order number, blah blah blah. Book it for me." Because I believe that the future is going towards this.
Mm-hmm.
We already have it like with ChatGPT or Claude, that we just type it like in normal language, and then it figure it out. And I think like in the process of the operation, it will be similar to that, where we're just giving the commands, saying, "Hey, I want to have these order. I think in the summer, we will have an increase of demand. Can you check if that's the case?" Oh yeah, based on your history, the demand will increase, but watch out, there are some issues in the world because of the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
You probably cannot have these products because the oil is
Yeah.
doing that. So it can help you advise. So that's where we're building towards to. So you can have real intelligence into your operation and can adapt accordingly.
Mm-hmm. So on one hand, normal like tracking events and making some kind of assumptions and take some kind of yeah, finding better solutions, right? That's what it can do, and be as a assistance, slash advisor.
Yes.
Okay, I see this is happening. This is happening. I know your goals, and you can update those goals. And so maybe let's do this now, or okay, let's wait a little bit longer, or something like this.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes yeah, for user, for end user of the software, it's getting so easy.
Yes. And the thing is also, it's very cost efficient because now you can have a junior doing senior work. Because imagine a purchaser, a senior purchaser, has years of experience, has his processes, understands how the market responds, know where to look at. But a junior one, it doesn't have the experience. But now the junior can have the advantage and even have way more intelligence available than the senior would have. So that means also you can like hire more junior people for actual senior work, which can be very cost efficient, especially if you're in a market which where you have like low margins. It becomes interesting to look at these options.
Yeah, yeah, and funny thing that I've heard. Imagine that seniors dies out, all of them, and you have only juniors. So you don't have any seniors anymore because were not trained by seniors. They were just juniors with extra powers that they didn't quite understand. Especially that I've heard it in the context of law and being a lawyer, because like a junior role for lawyers, for lawyer companies, something, they do not need juniors anymore. These simple tasks can be easily made by AI.
Yes.
So there are only seniors that are needed. So quite opposite that what you were saying. But the thing is that juniors are not trained to be seniors in the future. So either way, now they law firms can replace juniors, but on the long run, they're also gonna replace seniors. They have to, because it's not possible to train, without seniors, train properly juniors.
Yeah.
So that's a little trap for the future, I think.
It could be a trap indeed. But I think, in overall, we as humans always have I think we always have the need to grow. We always want to, yeah, we like to achieve things, right? So, in a way, yes, that could be an issue, but I don't think that will be an issue because, if we don't have to do anything anymore, some people will be like, oh, that's great. I can just sit back and do nothing and enjoy my life
And I,
and die. But there will be many people that are like, no, I need some purpose in my life. I want to be
exactly.
like a specialist. I want to be above the machine, and I think that room will be there for us. We will figure it out.
Yeah.
We have always figured it out for I don't know how many hundred thousands of years. So, and I think we even will figure it out this era where AI can do a lot of things.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah,
Let's
right?
do it. Yeah. Hopefully it's gonna be like this.
Yeah, I'm not like the doomsday thinker,
Yeah.
where we think, oh no, AI is gonna do everything. What are we going to do? We will definitely figure it out. And otherwise, we will be professional hobbyists.
Yeah, but I was really thinking about this kind of future. Let's imagine that like 90% of tasks, daily tasks for any human on this planet is done by AI or robots. You basically need to I don't know, wash your teeth and just sit on the toilet. This is what's left because
Yes.
all other things are basically made for you. We can use our brain, our creativity, and our co-working to work together towards some kind of good goal for all the humanity. For example, let's say, okay, the planet Earth is okay. It's too small. Let's find something bigger. Let's find something bigger. Let's build the ships. Let's build everything. Let's make us live longer and go there and visit all these planets and just spread humanity across the universe. Let's just make this goal for us humans as a whole.
Yeah.
Let's not just think about, okay, let's just do better weapons to kill the other ones. The other ones are also thinking about these weapons to kill us. Let's just forget about it. Let's think, okay, let's just go
Yeah.
across the universe. Let's be this Star Lords.
Yeah.
Let's do
Let's
it, man.
overpopulate and then figure out where we can live
Yeah,
when the
exactly.
when the urgency is there. Yeah, I think it's very cool that we as human can even think about these things, right? Like Elon Musk is trying to, be the first humanity that goes to Mars. Yeah, I think it's very cool that we can even think about these things. Where we think about like let's go to another planet and populate the other planets. Why not? Why should we limit ourselves only to this planet? If we can create, for example, ways to live at another planet because we understand how the physics and the biology and everything works, we can easily then do that, right? And I think it's not a crazy idea to even explore these thoughts. I think it's actually very cool.
Yeah, it starts with simple software that it's
Yeah.
enhanced by humans to be better software, like you guys do, and then you kind of put AI into it to make it even more responsive and more easier to for the users.
Yes.
And then from this, we go further and further, automating things
Yes.
to make our lives and all the people around the world lives easier and better,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Exactly. And actually, it's funny. You made me think about this that why we actually started. So when we started the company, we wanted actually initially to build a fashion line, like a t-shirt line. But I couldn't find anything online about how to build a fashion brand. I even didn't know how a t-shirt was like made of, where it was made of, and how you actually create a t-shirt. So that lack of information was just like 10 years ago, it was not available. And I think still to the day of today, it's very limited, the availability of that information. But everything starts with information. So if we document, for example, how a t-shirt is made, what materials it's made of, how much time and process it took to build that t-shirt or whatever product, we can optimize based on that information. For example, many t-shirts are made from cotton. Is that the right resource and material? Well, we know that polyester is not always very sustainable, and that is all information. If we just document all of that information and we improve the way we process that information and we improve the way we manufacturing that product, we become way more efficient. way more smarter, way more sustainable in creating new products. And I think that's the core of everything, having the information. And that's where software comes in, right? Understanding, capturing the data, understanding the data, and then do something with it. And then improve life, improve process, improve circumstances. And I think that all starts with the awareness and the information where you can get the awareness from.
Makes sense.
Yeah, right?
Makes sense. All right, I think we kind of touched upon a few interesting topics.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think you would like to add to it? Any final thoughts?
No, it was a pretty good talk, actually.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
told
yeah,
you.
yeah.
This room makes
It's a
makes
pretty
it
good
easy
talk.
to talk.
Yeah, makes it very easy to talk. And I think we touched upon all the things that are relevant in a very natural way. So that's nice.
Okay, so look into this camera and wave and say "Hoi,
Hoi!
hoi studio."
HOIstudio.
All right, okay. So thanks.
Yes, you too.
That was a nice one. All right, Miss Director Operator, cut it out.
You made notes. Thanks for watching.
All right, perfect.